So I'll start to do a welcome, and then I'll have to or we can just
Go ahead and open your drink.
Actually, this is basically the intro. The intro is always Jeff and I talking about how we're gonna open the show, and then I'm like, well, I guess we just started. So, ready? Let's christen this thing, this new beginning. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Yum.
It's a little early to be drinking Mountain Dew, but welcome back, Geek Church. I am so excited to be back. I have so many things I want to say right now. I'm like, do I welcome you guys? Do I introduce the new co-host? What do I do? I'll introduce I'm Jared Elrod, as always, and this is...
My name is Jonathan Wright.
I almost said Jeff Thu. That was such a habit after 6 years.
I guess I'm the new... I don't... Yeah,
You're the new Jeff.
I've met him, but I'm the new Jeff.
You're the new Jeff. So, guys...
Continuing Jeff's legacy.
There we go. And you're even wearing Captain America to continue it.
It's got Falcon on it too, though, so that's pretty cool.
He's probably obsessed with him now, too. So it's been a minute, guys. I think we did the last Geek Church episode, our farewell episode in 2000... I almost said 16. That is not right. 2011.
That's why I look so much different.
Yeah. This is Jeff, guys. He's just had a lot of sun. His hair's... It bleached his hair. Yeah.
Probably, I don't know. I probably, dropped a couple sizes.
No, you're actually very similar, I think.
Very similar
to Jeff. I mean, he had black hair and stuff, but in a lot of ways. In other ways, you're completely different.
That explains why I've always wanted to dye my hair, so. Because it was, yeah.
So, guys, we are bringing Geek Church back. So, we have already been talking about, in our youth group, adding a bunch of these different shows and stuff, adding a bunch more content back. And we had this whole, 12-month plan of stuff, and we started with the podcast. And then coronavirus pandemic hit, and everyone's stuck at home. And we're like, okay, I guess that year-long plan is now a 7-day plan. So
it's in effect
immediately. So we have been launching all of our content this week. So we have a daily, just so you guys know, so you can follow us everywhere. We have a daily podcast called Daily MVS. You can find that anywhere there's a podcast. We used to have one called MVS Soap, which is going to get rebranded and be some behind the scenes. So you'll probably want to follow that one too, because there'll even be behind the scenes. I think we're going to make it as we haven't told anyone else this. This is an exclusive for you guys. We think it's going to be a behind the scenes for everything we do. All the bloopers, all the behind the scenes, all the uncut stuff we're going to probably put on there and rename it. So then we have Daily MVS.
MVS
Unsoaped. We've got on our Youth Factor channel. You're gonna want to go and you're gonna want to search Youth Factor. You may have to put Youth Factor Jared Elrod. Last I checked, I know Youth Factor Jared Elrod will bring it up. Youth Factor might work. That is our primary channel. So this is our secondary channel. So the Youth Factor channel is going to have Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's going to have the vlog, which is 5 minutes or less of me and Jonathan going out and basically causing social trouble. But now we're going to have to figure out how to do that. Quarantine.
I don't know. Maybe we build something and we show how much.
Well, I have a couple ideas of some stuff we're going to do with some phone episodes. So we'll still. Plus, we have. So we just had. So tomorrow is this will air on Friday. So this is going to be on Friday. So we already, by the time they're watching this, our Wednesday episode was all about the first Wordy episode, and then Friday's episode is going to be the Impossible Whopper episode. So there's some good content out there. Go check that out. But then in between so that would be Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have Wordy, which if you notice in this channel, there's a bunch of things called Wordy because I was trying to launch something new. Geek Church was kind of dead, and we were trying to come up with something. I had this whole idea for Wordy, and we've kind of perfected it now. I'm going to call it perfected. I'm sure we'll still enhance and change it down the road.
We will continually be perfecting it, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't been perfected.
Yes, as a concept at least. So in between the vlogs, on the 2 off days for the vlogs, we'll have Wordy episodes. Those are 30-ish minute episodes that really visually support the daily, there's so many words, the daily podcast, not vlog, the daily podcast, where we take the scripture and the topic we talked about and do some sort of illustration with it. So on Monday, we talked about how your access to God can't be canceled, and not knowing, basically, even though the NBA quit, everything's quitting. No one can make you quit following God. Like, you still have access to God. And so we did this game called Don't Quit, and where we had the progressively hotter hot sauce, right?
Yeah.
And we won't say.
I made a mistake on the podcast this morning. I said what happened. We don't want to tell you. You got to go check it out.
I will say, as a not really a spoiler, but as a teaser, at one point he did pull out a barf bucket for me. We'll just leave it at that.
And we will also say that I was saying throughout the whole thing, I'm probably gonna quit on this next one. So
yeah, that's like what the vlog is, basically. The vlog is all about you trying to quit before we ever start. and then we have the show.
Or trying to get him to do it first so I can make sure that he's gonna live before I try it.
And then we're relaunching, as you can tell by this and the title, Geek Church. And Geek Church is going to be, I think, once a week. Originally, I said maybe twice a week. But I think because of schedules and everything...
It's going to give me time to read the comic.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to do it once a week. So I think we're going to launch it Friday nights. We'll do it as a premiere somewhere like around 10 o'clock on Friday nights. You can watch it as a premiere live. We are going to be doing our best. Sometimes he's going to have to be asleep because I have him up really early. And he works
I gotta sleep sometimes.
He works at a grocery store, one of the only jobs right now in the market that is working more instead of less.
Seriously. I'm getting overtime.
But we will 90% of the time, almost 100% of the time, and Jonathan probably 50-50, will be there during the premiere to interact with you guys in the comments and answer questions and whatnot. In fact, I probably just posted hey right now. So me watching this, go ahead and post hey.
And you're thinking, how are you commenting when you are there? It's because this was recorded a while ago and we're on there. Hopefully I'm there too.
Yeah, Jonathan
I don't know if I'm there or not.
Jonathan has 2 days a week off, and so we decided we were originally going to do these live, but we realized it's not going to work. So we're going to record these in the studio and then premiere them like live premieres where we can interact with you guys. That's how we decided to do that interactive element. And then if you guys say anything really good, we'll probably have a section on this where we will like read some comments that were good. Because the thing is, when Jeff and I did this, we just talked for like 2 hours just randomly about comics. I mean, we did some things where it was like top 10 lists and stuff like that, but there wasn't really structure. And we're going to add structure.
Top 22 list if we do that though.
Why top 22?
Top 22 Marvel movies.
Oh,
I think there's 22. That's what I think. So
you're basically saying just ranking the Marvel
movies. Just ranking them in order, yeah. I mean, we could do that. That would be a better way of saying it.
And I can irritate you by keep throwing in DCs. You're like, this is supposed to be ranking Marvel. So, yeah, so there's going to be some structure, and the episodes will generally be like an hour and a half when we have the time. This one's only going to be 15, 20 minutes just because he's got to get to work. This isn't one of his days off. We're just doing this really quick as our first introduction.
He still wakes me up early in the morning even when I got to go to work later.
Well, you got to hustle, man. So just so you guys know, some of the things we're going to be talking about in our first couple of episodes, so you guys can go check them out, and we're going to be heavily using the Marvel Unlimited and the DC, what's the name of the DC app? DC something app.
I don't know.
DC Connect, DC... I want to say Universe, but...
DC Universe, yep.
Okay, DC Universe and the Marvel, just because it's easy for us to have just a little... We don't have the money or the time to be going to comic shops all the time.
Comic shops are probably closed now too. So.
Yeah, unless one of the comic shops wants to sponsor us and let us like come in and read comics for free and then record. We'll record in your store.
Yeah,
we gotta go hit up our... That can be a vlog episode. Trying to get our local comic shop, because they have a seating area to let us record our episodes there.
Already,
well, right now, but the world will get the switch will get flipped back on eventually.
You think?
Probably. So we'll have to see if they'll kind of maybe let us do that. But if not, I have a good friend back in California who just started a comic shop. Otherwise, we could go in there and probably read them for free and do episodes.
I don't think I'm moving to California.
I don't think you probably legally can't move to California right now.
I don't think, But.
So we'll be using those apps heavily. So if you want to get those, that would be a way to follow along with us. And just so you have an idea what's coming up, we're going to be in the upcoming episodes. We're going to be doing an episode on House of X / House of Power, because it's two different X-Men series that kind of go together. So we're going to be talking about those. And that, I don't know, I haven't read all of them yet, and neither of you, so we haven't discussed how many episodes we want to break that, if it's going to be one episode, if we want to break it up or not. And then we're going to be doing an episode on Young Justice. So if you go to the DC app in the comics section, under Young Justice, because that was like my all-time favorite comic as a kid. Like, I absolutely loved it. It was awesome. So yeah, Young Justice. And then we'll probably do some of the animated DC stuff. Like, I know like Superman Red Sun is a relatively newer, I think. I saw some stuff on there. We might do that. And I definitely want to do, unless, one way or another, even if you don't watch it, we're going to have at least a couple episodes of the Teen Titans TV show. Some of their shows, Teen Titans.
Well, I can't be on Geek Church if I haven't watched it, so yes, I will
Titans,
watch it.
Swamp Thing, Doom Patrol. We'll kind of do like an overview of some, because DC has some really good exclusive content on their app. So at the very least, we'll do an episode just on that stuff, reviewing it, and then we'll do a Teen Titans episode, because season 1 was so good, and I can't wait to watch season 2. They're going to bring in Superboy as well as some other characters. So
I'm excited for I don't know, Falcon and the Winter Soldier series is supposed to come out soon as well.
Oh yeah, but Disney Plus. We both have Disney Plus.
Yeah,
there's like a lot of Marvel
Plus.
content.
I don't know. They said fall, but hopefully they'll.
Have you seen Mandalorian?
Yes.
Okay, well we'll do a Mandalorian episode.
I loved the Mandalorian. That's probably the coolest.
It's one of the
entire series I've ever seen.
It's amazing.
It was cool. It was clean. It was
so
just
good.
so good.
So we'll definitely do
And that
an episode of
made me
Mandalorian.
actually, as you know, I had only seen like the original Star Wars, so now I'm going through all of them because I love Mandalorian.
I have to say,
and I got so excited that the one, I don't even remember which one, but there was literally a Mandalorian walking around in the background. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a Mandalorian.
now I will say for reference, you pretty much can understand most of my comic background by going and watching back episodes of Geek Church. But I'm a long time comic fan, but I've been out of the game for a few years because I've just been busy. I haven't had time. I've stayed somewhat with my toe dipped in the water, but I've definitely not been like full on swimming in the comic pool recently. So I have to get back in and get reacquainted, and so that's part of like my homework is catching up on stuff with these 2 apps.
And I am learning how to swim.
He's a new fan. He was not a comic fan.
I didn't grow up on comics,
He's honestly, just to give you guys reference, he's an MCU fan, but he's willing to be a broader comic book fan, and he wants to learn.
I mean, my extent of like superheroes is I've seen actually all but 1, I think, or maybe 2 of the entire Marvel MCU universe so far.
Yeah.
So I love those, and then I do research, and I'm like, so who was this character?
Yeah.
And they'll tell you, oh, this was a reference to such and such, and it just excites me, and I like to know who's who and how they came.
He did tell me the other day to try to like beef up his comic credibility. He goes, well, I have this Marvel game on my phone I've been playing. But it
does have characters that are not in the movies. So, and it tells you what their superpowers are and what they do, and I'm like, hey, that's pretty awesome. I don't know why they weren't in the MCU, because they could have killed Thanos single-handedly.
So yeah, there's going to be so you basically have long-time comic fan, and then you've got newbie coming in. So it's going to be, I think, an interesting perspective.
Who's going to be really
Because see, Jeff and I had an interesting dynamic, because I was like mainstream, like current mainstream and independent comics, and Jeff was like mainstream and obscure comics. So like I'd be like, yeah, Speedball, and he's like, oh, here's the whole history of Speedball, blah blah blah. And I was like, I just know Speedball because I got this one like random like Night Thrasher comic like back in the 90s, and he was a part of the New Warriors, and Speedball's on the New Warriors. He bounced around, but I know nothing about it. He's like, he knows all their name and everything. So,
and it's just so weird that they all have a history. So you're like, wait, who is this character? And they go, oh, they're also known as, and you're like, well, I know that character. Yeah. But then you got to try to learn their history as to why they evolved from one character into another. So yeah, like I was reading the comic yesterday, and Jean Grey, and I looked up something, and they're like also known as Dark Phoenix. I'm like, okay, so I've like
Jean Grey.
I didn't actually go see it, but I wanted to go see the Dark Phoenix.
Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, Phoenix, Dark Phoenix,
How
and then there's the
same
Phoenix
person
Force.
have 5 different roles.
Well, and then in the comics, I think right before the event that we're reading, there was 2 Jean Greys, because there was the regular Jean Grey and Cyclops, and as adults, and then there was the teenage version of themselves who'd been brought back, like it was a time thing. So the teenage version of themselves was there as Cyclops and Marvel Girl. So we had the adult version and we had the teenage version, and they hated each other. They were on two separate teams. So comics get a little loopy.
They do. And then you get characters that are on these amazing teams, but yet they're against another one of your favorite teams.
Yeah.
And then you have to try to choose between the two, and you read the story, and most of the time they're kind of both right.
Well, for
That's
one,
like Civil War.
like we'll probably cover, we'll see, but there's a Marvel versus X-Men series. I'm sorry, X-Men versus Avengers series, where the X-Men and the Avengers get pitted up against each other. So we'll probably cover that, and that should be interesting. So, all right, we don't want to keep this first episode too long. It's supposed to be an introduction, a little bit just what we're going to be doing, talk about how we're going to have a different format. We're going to cover news. We're going to cover all kinds of different things.
And we're going to be drinking our
Yes.
Mountain Dew.
And we're back to, a quick history on it, because I told Jonathan, I go, Mountain Dew or Pepsi, because Geek Church is a drinking show. Obviously soda or an energy drink. It's not
I mean,
alcohol.
there's nothing better than Mountain Dew. I think we can all agree on that.
So I told him, I said, the history of how this was a drinking show, and again, I say drinking, non-alcoholic, so don't freak out on me, students.
Besides, the bars are closed, so.
The history of how it became kind of like a drinking show is we had basically a restaurant that we ran out of the youth house twice a week. And what we would do is, those are the days we would record Geek Church. One of them, we would basically close down the restaurant, we'd clean up, lock the front door, and then we'd hit record on the camera. I had a little flip cam. We'd hit record, and we're just down in the youth house. In the beginning, we were in front. You can see a black sign behind us that says Encounter. We eventually put like more of a studio upstairs. We had a new Geek Church couch, but first it was this floral white couch thing with the Encounter Student Ministry logo behind us, and we would just do a quick reset, make a little quick set, put a little table up on some chairs, and made this little thing. And we were tired from like working this restaurant all morning. We'd get there early in the morning. Jeff would start barbecuing the tri-tip. We'd have to slice the meat. We ran a whole store, like a whole a whole restaurant, cleaned up everything, and then so we're tired. So we would go into the kitchen and steal Mountain Dews and energy drinks. Now, I mean, steal is a loose term there because we were running the place. We just
this is
never paid for the drinks we bought.
The grocery store term for this is that you would code out. I mean,
yes.
you already paid for it, so technically
no, we
you
didn't
can
pay
use
for
it
them.
for. Well, the store paid.
Oh
for
yeah.
it. So for store purposes,
yes,
you would code it out and you can use it.
So it started off as we'd go in there.
Stealing.
Yeah, and we'd be hungry too. So we'd go in there and we'd grab, because we had candy and drinks and energy drinks and stuff. So we'd go in there and we'd grab some stuff. So like we'd grab like a couple candy bars and we'd grab like a drink or two. And I'd grab like a Mountain Dew and an energy drink, and he'd grab like a Dr. Pepper and I'd grab a Monster, he'd grab a Rockstar. We'd always just do different things. And we'd grab some candy and we'd sit there and just eat some candy and drink. And over the time, we stopped doing that, but we always had our main drink. Like we stopped doing like the multiple drinks and the candy, but I always started off the show by cracking the top of my Monster, and eventually the Mountain Dew turned into just straight Monsters, and would crack the top of the drink, and that's how we started the show.
So you started it because you were hungry, which I mean,
and tired.
We're always hungry and tired, so perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we're just continuing.
Yeah. And we won't normally shoot these so early in the morning, and we'll have the Monsters. Well, I will. You'll have either a fruity Monster or weird water.
Yeah, I'll have colored water most likely.
He's got this like caffeine water packet mix, and when he drinks Monsters, I still drink the classic. He drinks like the fruit ones.
I really like the fruit punch. Yeah, I really do.
All right, they don't care about our drinking habits anymore, so
they're probably commenting. I like such and.
Yeah. Tell us your favorite drink and what you like best, please. You don't need to tell us. Monsters are bad for you. Yes, we know. Whatever. You don't have to tell us. Grandma, leave me alone. Don't comment on the video. I'm just kidding. I love you, Grandma, and I don't drink Monsters anymore because you told me not to. Just kidding. I still do. Okay. But Grandma, I have been trying to drink more water when I drink Monsters because you told me to. So that's something, right? That's something.
It's a balance.
It's trying to balance it out a little bit. Yeah. So with that, guys, we will see you. Oh, also leave suggestions in the comments of future topics and future series or movies or any kind of stuff. Even games. Neither one of us, I don't think, are big gamers. Mostly because of time. Well, time and money. Like I don't have $60 to drop on a new game, and I don't have the time to beat the game, even if I did. So, but
you're talking that amazing Halo game that I could play that.
He
forever.
just played Halo for the first time in an arcade and loved it. But I will say, I heard a rumor, it may not, well, maybe cover this in the news segment in the beginning. I think they're doing a new Marvel Ultimate Alliance game. If so, we'll have to get that. We'll have to do like a live stream event of playing that.
They did just release a new Marvel, I don't remember, but there was like a Marvel game.
Well, that one's different. I heard that they were going to actually redo, because they did Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Ultimate Alliance 2. I read somewhere that they were doing a new Ultimate Alliance game, which is it's like it's the whole thing. And I played both of them. I loved them. I go over to a friend's house and play. So we may have to do like some sort of live streaming event where we're like trying to beat the game in one night or something. But all right, guys, we will see you. So this is Friday. We'll see you next Friday on Geek Church. Until then, we need like some sort of sign out for this show. Like,
found and not found. Sorry, that's a too perfect. We'll do this. We'll like do a toast, right? We could do like a toast.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. See you guys next Friday.